Hey guys, it's me, your healing friend, and I'm here to tell you my healing story. In 2012, I had hit absolute rock bottom. I had had a great childhood. I was in a great college program. I was really, really lucky, but life had just chipped away at me. I had low self-esteem. I didn't believe in myself. I felt cringy and unlovable and weird. I felt awkward, which was super weird because a few years earlier, I had been like at my peak. I had been my best self. And at that time, so many things fell into place for me. And then just as quickly, they just all fell apart. It had once been really easy for me to talk to people. All of a sudden, I had all of this anxiety and I would second guess myself and self-doubt, and I would pursue friendships with people that would validate me, but people who weren't actually kind to me or cared about me. People who wanted to be my friend because I looked a certain way. People who didn't care about my feelings. So in 2012, I hit rock bottom and Instagram had just come out. So I was one of Gabrielle Bernstein's first 1,000 followers. And if you don't know who Gabrielle Bernstein is, she is like the millennial, beautiful, spiritual guru for like my generation. She kind of started this whole like youth wave of like wellness and spirituality for girls like me, which I needed. And I related to her so much. We're very, very similar. We both went to theater school. We both had these sort of paranormal things happen to us since we were kids. So I found her, followed her, and I remember reading on her page that you manifest what you are. And at the time, I was looking at my results in life and I was just really not where I wanted to be. And I didn't feel about myself the way I wanted to feel. And I wasn't developing the friendships that I used to develop in childhood that were really, really strong and based on love and support and laughter. So I looked at my results and I got honest with myself. I was like, okay, I gotta fix me. And again, remember, I didn't know I had any issues. I didn't know I had any mental or emotional problems. I just thought God had made me this way. I woke up every day as a kid, and however I felt when I woke up, like that was the day I was gonna have. And I thought it was all completely random. So after following Gabrielle Bernstein and starting meditation, the only tool that I had for my emotional health and wellness at that time was yoga. I started taking yoga in 2010 and I did it every day that summer after I went through some really tough stuff, and I felt better and it was noticeable and it really just blew my mind. I was obsessed with yoga. But then when I went to theater conservatory, I didn't have time anymore. And yeah, we were doing a lot of movement and stuff like that, but it wasn't the same as like breath and flow. It wasn't having the same effect on my body. And in fact, a lot of the things I was going through were compounded by my experience at theater school. It's all good. Like, I've processed it. It's fine. It was part of the journey and I'm really grateful for it. But it was what it was at the time, and I wasn't equipped to handle it because I didn't realize that the real world does not care about you. And even though you might be sitting in a room with people who say they care and say that they're supportive, saying something is easier than doing it. And I found myself very, very alone and very isolated, even though it may not have looked like that from the outside. I did not feel like myself. I did not feel like anybody was actually getting to know me. I think anybody who met me between 20 and 33 didn't meet the full real me because I was really holding on to stuff for that long. So in 2012, I already had yoga. Gabby Bernstein was telling me to meditate. And then I had heard about something called binaural beats, which are frequencies that are played in each ear, and they're different, and they sync the hemispheres of the brain, and they can sort of catalyze chemical feelings or emotions or reactions. So I was in Boston in college, laying on my bed, listening to binaural beats and trying to meditate, and it didn't do anything. It didn't do a thing. I was laying there and I was just like, I'm miserable. When is this just magically gonna turn on my happy brain again so I could just like go back to living my life? Didn't happen. So after college, I moved to LA and I decided to live by myself. I decided that I was going to really, really focus on who I am and getting back to that, while also pursuing film and television. So yoga, meditation, binaural beats, and now I'm in LA where there are lots of spiritual people, lots of healers, lots of green juices, lots of that kind of stuff. So I'm doing all that stuff. While it's aesthetic and bougie and cool, it felt very performative to me. And I actually worked in the wellness space in LA quite a bit, and I met a lot of athletes, coaches, spiritualists, healers, all sorts of people, lots of famous people come through our doors and talk about what works for them, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. So the whole time I was in LA, I was working in health and wellness. I was picking up tools from people who were coming in. I was implementing those tools. I was going to seminars. And then in 2016, I reconnected with a college friend, and she had been through some hard stuff, and she was really starting to shine. And I was inspired by her, and we went and got acai bowls, and I was like, what is up? You are killing it. Like, how are you doing? And no gatekeeping. She was like, I am working with a healer over the phone. While I'm spiritual, and I've been spiritual since I was a little kid, the idea of paying somebody to heal me over the phone like really rubbed me the wrong way. But it was working for her. And she showed me the notes that she had taken from the sessions and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'll try anything 3 times. So I made an appointment, and I didn't tell this woman anything. I let her explain to me the process, what to expect, what she does, etc. And I was just silent, and I let her do her thing. And then afterwards I said, thank you. And we got off the phone. I did that 3 times. No details, nothing about my life. All my socials were either deleted at that time or private. And on our 3rd session, she said something that was something she could absolutely never know. So personal and deep and specific that it was shocking to me. But then the day after, I noticed that the dark cloud around me that felt like someone had been watching me for like 8 years at that point had finally lifted. I felt actually alone for the first time, and it was wonderful. The pressure had lifted. It was great. So what did I do? I booked a session with this woman every week. I worked with her every week, and I listened, and I took it very, very seriously. And at the end of she told me to take a break for a year and told me to integrate all the energy work we had already done. If you get into spirituality, you understand that there are levels to things, and it starts with spiritual, and then it becomes mental, and then emotional, and then physical. That's how this world works. It starts intangible, and it moves into the tangible. That's how creation happens. So all this energy work we had been doing needed to settle into my body and into my physical environment. I didn't want to take a year off. So I got certified in a modality called the Emotion Code. And the funny thing is about healing is when you learn how to do it, you realize like anybody can do it. And once I started having clients, I started realizing that I actually was pretty good at it. And I knew that because I was tapping into things over the phone with my clients, sometimes in person, sometimes via Zoom, but mostly over the phone. I was getting sensations in my body that reflected the sensations they were getting in their body. So I started realizing like, okay, this is real. I got super into it, and then bang, COVID happened. So I got certified 5 months before COVID happens. A lot of people need healing. I spend 2020 just like healing people every day. Like word gets out, I get a pretty large healing client base, and I start getting really good at what I'm doing and really trusting what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Despite the naysayers, despite people, despite how it sounds to like a normal person, like I'm a normal person. I want to be a healer for normal people. I want to normalize energy healing. So it's not woo-woo or intangible or for weirdos, because it's really not. It's for all of us. And energy is real, and how we use that energy is real, and how we share that energy is very real. So anyway, it's 2020, and I happen to be in Sedona with my friend Amy, and we end up there through like these weird cosmic circumstances. I was going through something and needed to hermit down somewhere. She, by happenstance, ended up alone in Sedona. I was like, I'm coming, and we had the best 2 weeks ever, albeit heavy. So I'm with Amy, and one of her friends is a certified Reiki practitioner, and I had never tried Reiki, and I wanted to try a session, and I liked this friend of my friend. And so we did it over Zoom. And again, I'm like, will this work over Zoom? Like here I've been like doing energy healing over the phone, but I'm like, will Reiki work over like a camera? Like, I don't know. And I'm laying there and I'm just receiving, and I can feel things happening in my body. Just feel, like lots of things. And then at one point, like I'm laying with like my palms up to receive, and then my right hand just by itself, it just flips over. I was like, what was that? It was wild. And then afterwards, when she unpacked her experience to me, I was crying because it mirrored what I had felt going on in my body. And we weren't speaking during the session. So what did I do? I got certified in Reiki. So I started practicing Reiki, and realizing that I had always kind of been doing Reiki. Like when I pet my cat, like or like hold someone's hand or like give someone a hug, I always think about like sending them like the love that I feel. And Reiki is pretty similar to that. There's some distinct differences in how it was developed and like honoring the cultural heritage of Reiki and things like that. But the point is, there are lots of ways you can work with energy, and you can develop systems that work for you, which I'm also going to teach you how to do on this channel. Do I call this a channel? So then I get certified in breathwork, and I finally get certified in yoga, 200-hour teacher training. Oh, and then I got certified in rapid transformational therapy, mostly because I wanted the 6 free sessions that you get when you do the program. You have to like share sessions with other students. And so I wanted the 6 free sessions with the other students. And I bought the course, I did the course, flew through the course, loved it, really understood it, started implementing it, realized I'm actually pretty good at hypnosis once I got my rhythm. And once I really began to understand like the layers of the mind, I got really good at that. And then I got into neuro-linguistic programming, which is all about language, which is super important for hypnosis because the language you use during hypnosis, it really matters. But it also really matters like how words are used in conversation. But what's most important is how we use words with ourselves. So I have been working on myself, and I can finally say I am back to where I was at the height of my life in 2010, but better because I'm wiser and I have more emotional grit and I know who I am, and I don't chase things that aren't aligned with me, and it's a much more peaceful, enjoyable, happy existence. I heard Tony Robbins say on an interview that I watched last week, he said, I hate suffering. I just hate suffering. And that's exactly how I feel. I wouldn't wish exactly. There's bad stuff happening to everyone. And we all internalize things differently, and we all need tools. And just because, somebody was born into one circumstance or another, or things like that, like we just all need tools no matter what. And I still have a very privileged life, but I hurt so badly. And it was by no one's fault specifically. It was just the way that life hit me and the way I interpreted it, and then the way I reacted to it, and then the way it responded to me. I built that off of a bunch of stuff that happened probably before I could really remember much. Anyway, I just want to let you know, you could be at the deepest depths of pain and depression and sorrow and grief, and you can climb out the other side. I have done it. And moments were painful, and moments it felt like it was never gonna end. I remember wondering if I never thought I was going to be able to put myself on camera no matter how badly I wanted to. This is the first time. I am really trying, and it feels effortless and easy and natural, and it feels like what I should be doing. You should be doing is what's in your heart, who you are, where you can serve with joy and fulfillment. That is where you belong. That is what the world needs. Whether it's interior design or saving the ocean or being a mom or a dad, I have tons of knowledge for you. And I have 14 years of resources that I want to share with you because all of you.